Hi, it's Becky here from Teeny Frog Crochet, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute waffle stitch ear warmer. So this one here I made using this boho spirit, Cygnet Boho spirit, in the colour Soleil. But for today's tutorial, and also I made two out of one ball of yarn with the boho spirit, so there's enough there if obviously your head measurements are the same as mine and tension, etc. So I made this one with this yarn, but for today's tutorial I've chosen another yarn out of my stash which I love. So in the tutorial today I'm going to be using Yarnsmiths Lagoon DK in the shade 2J120. So let's get started. I'm going to be using US terms throughout. You will also need a 5mm crochet hook and a pair of scissors and a darning needle, and it's as easy as that. So let's get myself ready and we'll get started. So the first thing you need to do is to put a slip knot on your hook. So leave yourself a decent sized tail for weaving in, and to make a slip knot you just wrap it around your finger, pop it through to get a loop, and pop that loop on your hook. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 19. So to make a chain, yarn over and pull through the loop on your hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, like that, and then into the 1, 2, 3rd chain from your hook I'm going to put a double crochet. It's up to you if you want to just go into your chain like this, but I'm going to go into the back bump because I think it makes a nicer edge for joining. So 1, 2, 3 stitches along, I'm going to twist my chain around slightly, and into that back bump there I'm going to make a double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into that back bump, bit of a wiggle, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. So that's your first double crochet into the back bump, or as I said, you can go into the chain if the back bump's a bit tricky. That's absolutely fine. So all you're going to do is you're going to make double crochets all the way along this chain. Okay, so I'm going to do mine in the back bumps. So yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. And once you, if you are doing it in the back bumps, once you've done 1 or 2, you'll find that your chain automatically twists around for you to make it easier to see the stitch you need to go into. So just do a double crochet in every stitch along to the end. So just carry on and make a double crochet to the end of your chain, and I'll meet up with you when we get there. So I've got 1 chain left, yarn over and double crochet in that stitch, So you should have something that looks like this. So what we're going to do then is we're just going to turn our work. We're not going to chain at all because I'm going to do a stacked single crochet. So a lot of crochet patterns you'll see you either chain 3 and turn, or turn and chain 3, and that counts as your first double crochet. But I'm going to do a stacked single crochet that will count as my double crochet, and that will give us a nice straight edge for our ear warmer. So into this first stitch here, you're just going to insert your hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both of those loops, and then you're going to insert your hook, insert your hook under this loop here, and we're going to make another single crochet under that loop. So we're going to go into there, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. So essentially we've stacked 2 single crochets on top of each other, and that gives us the height and the top of the stitch the same as a double crochet. So what we're going to do then is we're going to do a front post double crochet around this next stitch here. So I'll show you how to do that. So a double crochet is the same as how we did it before, but instead of going into the top loops of the stitch here, we're going to actually wrap the stitch around the post of the double crochet below it. So we're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the front of your work, and then pop your hook back up the other side of that post, and you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and that is a front post double crochet. Then you're going to, into the top of the next 2 stitches, just put a regular double crochet, 1 and 2, and then around the next one we're going to do another front post double crochet. So yarn over, go into the front of your work, pop up the other side of that post, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and then 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. So all the way along now we're going to be doing 2 regular double crochets and then a front post, and then 2 regular double crochets and then a front post on the next one. So you go into the front and put your hook underneath that post, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and then 2 double crochets in the tops of the stitches, 1 and 2, and then another front post. And that's all this waffle pattern is: front post double crochets and regular double crochets. It's a lovely pattern, it grows really quickly. It's known to be a bit of a yarn eater, but for something like a little ear warmer it's perfect because it's got a lovely squishy texture. Double crochet 2, you're going to do a front post around that last post there, and then into the turning chain that we started with, you're just going to do a regular double crochet into there, and that's the only time in this pattern that you'll crochet into the top of a chain. the rest of it you'll be going into the top of these stacked stitches that we're going to make. So then we're going to turn our work again, and we're going to make a stacked stitch again in the top of this stitch. So to do the stacked, you just no chains, you just go straight into that stitch and do a single crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you remember you go into this bar and make a single crochet under that bar. And then in this first stitch we're going to make just a regular double crochet into the top of that stitch, and then these, which would be our 2 regular double crochets from the other side, we're going to make front post double crochets around those 2. So it's sort of a mirror image of what you did the row before. We're going to do 2 front posts and then a regular double crochet into what is your front post on the other side. And these 2 rows we are just going to repeat, and that's what's going to give us our waffle texture. So the 2 stitches, you can kind of see from this side that your back post stitches on the other side are kind of behind the work, and these 2 here, whoops, these 2 that we're going to be doing our front post stitches around are sort of towards us anyway. It gets easier to identify them the further along the pattern you go. So a regular double crochet in there, and then 2 front post, 1 and 2, and then a regular double crochet, then 2 front post, and I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way to the end. Regular one. Got noisy neighbours out front, so I apologise if you can hear them. Bless you. And a regular double crochet in that last one there, and then into the top of the stacked stitch that we did, you can see you've got your top of your stitch there, your 2, little V. So we're just going to do a regular double crochet into that stitch, and then again turn, and you can see your waffle pattern is starting to emerge. So we'll start with a stacked stitch again into this first one, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, and insert under that bar, and make another single crochet. So then we're just going to repeat what we did for the first row. So we're going to do a front post around that first, and then 2 regular double crochets into the next 2. Front post. As you can see, it gets easier to identify the further along you go. You can see, oh, I'm going to do a front post around that one, that one, that one. You can see it's going to grow nice and quickly. And I think it's going to look gorgeous in this yarn as well. Whoops, yarn bath. Two, and then the last front post. And your last stitch goes into the top then of that stacked stitch. So you repeat that again. You'll do your regular double crochet and then your 2 front post, regular, 2 front post. You do that on the backs, and then when you turn on the front you do your front post, 2 regular, front post, 2 regular. So what you want to do now, so for my head circumference, my head measures 22 inches, which I think is around about standard. But measure your head, and whatever your head measures, you're going to want to make this the length. So obviously it's folded over and joined. So you're going to want to make it the length of your head minus 2 inches. So my head is 22 inches. So I make a waffle panel of 20 inches approximately. So say for instance your head measures 20 inches, or you want to make it for a child, just measure their head, and whatever their head measurement is, just take away 2 inches, because obviously it's going to stretch, or you want it to stretch over to keep your ears nice and snug. So make your panel the length that you want it. I'm going to make this approximately 20 inches, and I will meet back up with you and show you how we join it, and it is as simple as that. Okay, so when we join our ends together, we need our last row to be on the right side of our work. So I've measured my ear warmer, and when I put in another row, and you just want to make sure it's laid out flat. So when I put in another row, I'm happy that that's going to be, so at the moment it's measuring about 19. So I'm going to put in one more row, so that for me will be around about the size that I want it. So just bear in mind when you're measuring that your last row needs to go on this right side with the waffle side up. So this is the right side of your work, and that there is the wrong side. Although personally I think it looks great either way, but technically this is the right side of your waffle. So I'm going to put my last row in on this side. Let's just do that. So I'm going to put my stacked stitch in, and then my double crochets, normal ones and front post ones, to the end of my row. Like so. Then I'm going to turn my work. So you're going to want to join your ends together. Let's zoom back out again a minute. So we're going to join our ends together on the inside. So you're going to want the wrong side of your work facing you, and we're going to join these 2 edges together. So I'm going to do that simply by doing a back loop only slip stitch join. So into this first double crochet here, I'm going to go into the back loop, and on the corresponding side at the back I'm going to go and find that first double crochet there, and I'm going to go into the back loop of that and make a slip stitch. And then you're just going to do that for each double crochet along, go in your back loop, and if you have, like me, used your back bumps, this is going to be the loop that you are going to be going into, this loop here. And you're just going to slip stitch, back loop, into that loop, slip stitch, and you should be able to do that. You should have the same amount of stitches that you started with, because there was no decreasing at all. And you're just going to slip stitch all the way along. Like so. And because we finished on a right-sided row, our tails are going to be at the same end, so it also means that you'll be able to tie them together as well, just for that extra bit of security before we weave them in. As I said, you can make this as big or as small. You can also make it chunkier, make it wider if you wanted to. And I've definitely got enough left in my ball of yarn to make another one, which I'm really happy about because I think this colourway has come out absolutely delicious. So there we go, last one. And I'm just going to go through both loops of that stitch there, slip stitch. So then I'm going to fasten off and chain and pull through to secure my end. So I'm going to pull that tight, and then, as I said, I'm just going to knot these together as well, just to make doubly, triply sure that it's not going to come undone, like so. Then I'll just get my tail ends and my darning needle, and I will go in and out a few times, and I like to use a nice sharp needle so that I can go through the actual fibres of the stitch as well. I'm going to work up the side there a little bit, and then I'm going to go in through a few of these stitches here. Just work back and forth a few times just to hide your end in there, but it's not going to come undone because it's been fastened off and knotted. Let's do this one quickly. I'm going to do the same, just weave it up through there. Oops. And hide it in. And it's as simple as that. Be a gorgeous Christmas gift, stocking filler. There. So fasten your ends off, and then you can turn your U-warmer back in the right way. So that's the back, and that there is the front. Perfect ear warmer for the winter months. And as I said, that's how much of my yarn, so I possibly could get another one and something else out of there, maybe another one, and then a one for a baby or a child. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. There will be a written pattern up at some point. I've designed 3 of these ear warmers, so I'm going to do it the same way I did my infinity scarf patterns. I'm going to do a pattern that has all 3 on there. 3 in 1. Who doesn't love that? So thanks for joining me. If you don't already subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate it. And a like and a comment. If you want to share pictures of your work, please tag me on social media. I do have a Facebook community group that you can come and join if you like. There's a lovely bunch of folks over there. So yeah, thanks ever so much, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye bye.